Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all on the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment, and click the bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday. Welcome in, Kyle. I see you in the comments there, my friend. Guys, this is going to be a very quick live stream to update you on my thoughts on some of the volatility that we're seeing in the market. A couple key charts that I want to take a look at that might actually surprise you. And then also an announcement, kind of two announcements here. One, to reconfirm with you and remind you, I'm actually going to be going live tomorrow for a brand new live stream, if I can find it here. It's called Beyond the Charts. Beyond the Charts. We're going to combine fundamentals and technicals, see where those synergies exist, learn from one another, as we always do on this channel. And I'm going to have Alex from Tactical Invest on the channel. So make sure that you check out tomorrow's live stream. It should be at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Second announcement is, as I have always indicated to you guys, when the market starts to pick up with volatility like we're seeing these, I think in particular the next handful of months are going to be very telling and critical months to determine what we can expect for the rest of the year. I think there's a good possibility I'll be going live on Sunday, okay, for that weekly close. So make sure you do click that bell icon for all notifications. Now, why am I anticipating that? Well, two reasons. One, I anticipate this weekly close to be very important and informative to tell us what we can expect moving forward, and we'll get into that. Secondly, I think there could be more volatility coming in this weekend. So let's kind of dig into the charts. Assessing the price action on lower time frame price action here. Nothing to be concerned about. This is Bitcoin on the 12-hour. We routinely cover this on the channel. You can see, guys, I don't know what else to tell you. We just keep printing these higher highs and higher lows. A couple thoughts on the pullback. Okay, so what I was anticipating in the shorter term, I was anticipating a move up towards that $80,000 region, the high $70,000 to low $80,000 region before we actually saw the pullback that we might be experiencing right now, right? There's a couple different scenarios that could pan out, okay? And we need to be patient, as I had tweeted out today, and wait for the weekly candlestick to print. And then wait for the monthly candlestick to print, because those higher time frame views will lead to a greater level of conviction in terms of what we can anticipate moving forward. There's really two main scenarios that I'm anticipating or expecting. We're either going to have some sort of a pretty swift recovery in here and movement up as early as next week, or we're going to consolidate for a handful of weeks before we begin moving back up again, okay? Either scenario is bullish, okay? There is no bearish scenario that I see playing out here. There's way too many charts, guys, we've looked at on the higher time frames. And when you actually, we've done this in the past on these live streams, we've gone back in time and we've actually assessed volatility that we've seen in the past where we've seen 20-30% drops on the way up well past new all-time highs. Keep perspective, guys. Bitcoin just got past its all-time high. Altcoins are still 80-90%, some of them down from their prior all-time high. Bitcoin dominance hasn't dropped anywhere yet. We literally, on those monthly and weekly time frames we've looked at Bitcoin, a lot of those charts are telling us that we've just begun this parabolic journey, okay? So we just need to sit tight and remain patient. This is the worst time you could get weeded out right now. Now, if we look at the weekly, if I had to take an educated guess, we're going to get some sort of an indecision candle that comes in for this week, but we'll have to see how it prints. Very similar, you can see sometimes these indecision candles, what an indecision candle is a thin body. It can be thin or red. And then you have wicks to the up and down side. Should make sense, right? It's an indecision because we had volatility to the upside, the downside, we sort of closed right around where we opened, okay? So there's an approximate equidistant amount of indecision to the upside and downside. Stated differently, if that didn't make any sense to you, if you don't know what equidistant means, these wicks are very similar in height between the top wick and the bottom wick, right? You can see here when we had an indecision candle here in January, we had a couple weeks of consolidation before a movement up. Here we had an indecision candle weekly print in the middle of February. It actually resulted in us getting a huge push up. So it's not a guarantee of what we can expect, but what an indecision candle can inform us with is having some degree of conviction of what is most likely. So if we do get a relative indecision candle here, let's say we print around $70,000 to close out the week, okay? There's a higher likelihood that we're going to see, maybe a week, 2 week, 3 weeks of consolidation prior to resuming our trend up. Or, like we've done here, we certainly could resume the trend right up and continue pushing higher. We just have to remain patient and see. But the higher time frames are the most important and critical areas for us. And so it's important to keep in mind the weekly view and the monthly view. Nothing has changed on dominance. We'll really start to get an indication that alt season is picking up once this ascending line here breaks. You can see the relative strength index is doing exactly what I've spoken to here. We need to see this to break to confirm a few things. But I want to take a look, and right now we're seeing a little bit of volatility in in Solana. It was upwards, pushing up towards 190. Solana, I'm going to focus on the Solana chart, and you may not have anticipated this coming into the live stream for a very important reason. There is absolutely no question in my mind at this point, and I've had this thought, and I've kind of alluded to some of this on this live stream for a while now, and there's actually a video published. There's a video published on my channel if you want to check it out. Right around the time that we were in fear with Solana. If you come back to this time period, might have been right around this time here. During sort of peak fear, I put out a video, and the crux of that video was if you zoom out, and at this point, this price action did not exist. Okay, so this didn't exist, but all of this here existed. I said, guys, if you zoom out and look at the chart, and again, news is noise. Charts tell you everything you need to know. This is a beautiful chart. I don't care how many times Solana has gone down, how much its network has gone down. I don't care what you say regarding that from a fundamental perspective. The chart is the chart, okay? The ecosystem is the ecosystem. The narrative is the narrative. And I said, this is a beautiful looking chart that's going to perform well. That was the key takeaway. And look what we've done. Not only have we performed very well, but Solana has been front running the market. This movement here led a lot of your L1s that eventually had their run in early 2023 and had better price performance relative to Ethereum. If we take a look at the Fibonacci retracement levels, Solana broke well above its 0.618 Fib retracement level at $70. It broke above it in December, well ahead of Ethereum. Ethereum didn't break above this level until last month, okay? So it's been front running the market. And again, just take it from somebody. I am not an expert. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I never offer financial advice on this channel. I never have. I never will. Just take it from someone who's been in this market for a while, that in my educated opinion, okay, with the relative strength we are seeing in Solana today, relative to the weakness that we're seeing in Bitcoin, it's telling us something. People that get emotional and are not paying attention to the price action within the market are missing key things. If you have Bitcoin down 5, 6, 7% and Solana is holding relative strength and was up as much as, we still have 3.5 hours nearly to close out the day, it was up upwards of 5, 6% today. What is that telling you? It's telling me, I'll tell you what it's telling me, that alt season may have very well begun. The beginning of alt season does not need to necessarily be all your coins just go up a 10x. That's not what alt season is. Alt season, the true start of an alt season, is where you're beginning to see the altcoins outperforming Bitcoin and it's grabbing dominance, right? It's going to first happen in your bigger players. That momentum shift to the ecosystem within your altcoins grabbing dominance and resulting in the downfall here may have started today. Alt season technically may have begun today. We won't know until hindsight, obviously. We may never wick up to this 58% level. We may just roll over here and create a lower high. No reason that in the short term for a couple days, Bitcoin couldn't come up here and either quadruple top or create a lower high and get up to 54, just shy of 55% and roll over. But I believe the momentum we're seeing in Solana right now is giving us a foreshadowing of what is to come. We need to be patient, okay? We need to be patient. We need to see how the week closes out. We need to see how the month closes out. But with the current momentum that we are seeing in Solana, okay, keep in mind, we are seems like a lot, right? We are currently 50% away from our all-time high. And you might say to me, 50% is a far away, far price level away, right? If you feel that way, or if that is your viewpoint, you haven't been here long, okay? And you also don't know how to read a chart, because this chart, we have the stochastic RSI that is turning very strong to the upside. The MACD looks good. I don't have the RSI up for some reason. It would not surprise me to see Solana at a new all-time high within the next week or two. Yes, it would not surprise me one bit to see this at a new all-time high, piercing up towards 268 within the next week or two. Okay, you wake up and Solana's up 20%. That would not surprise me. Based on how the charts are setting up, I think Solana has a very strong likelihood to pierce its all-time high within the next week or two. Ethereum is going to follow shortly thereafter. That's going to increasingly flood a lot of money into your altcoins, okay? And you're going to see your other L1s pump, your larger tokens run, XRP will have its day, it will pump, and then it will start fleeting into the smaller coins. Now, this should happen congruently with the same time that Bitcoin is consolidating within here and also starting to trend back up, okay? This should all be taking place. The scenarios we have to be prepared for, guys, and I'm prepared for a whole host of scenarios, including I could be completely wrong about everything. So far, I've been fairly correct with everything that's been going on in the market if you've been following me, but very ready for the possibility that any scenario that I have laid out to you guys could be wrong. But you know my primary hypothesis is that Bitcoin is going to have its blow off top within the first half of this year. July is the latest, right? I am very prepared for a scenario, and it actually comes from more so a fundamental perspective surrounding liquidity cycles and interest rate cycles, where maybe we have a little bit of chipping and chopping, and we don't have our ultimate move up into our final impulsive wave movement until the end of this year or the beginning of 2025. I'm very prepared for that scenario, and that's why it is so much more important to pay less attention to the timing. It's far less important to pay attention to the relative dollar value that you think something's going to hit. I am prepared for a scenario where Bitcoin underwhelms and doesn't go above 93,000. I'm very prepared for that scenario. And the way that I am prepared for all scenarios, it's superseding my expectations or underwhelming my expectations, topping sooner than I think, topping later than I think, is to have key charts and indicators I am going to look for to tell me an impulsive price movement is coming up, has been occurring in Bitcoin, and it's very smart to begin taking profits, okay? That video is going to drop very early next week. I was just doing some work on that earlier this morning. That is what you need to be paying particular attention to. But again, Solana should be the thing you're paying attention to right now. It's telling us something. It's front-running the market again. And I believe with the strength we're seeing in Solana, we are going to see Solana break into a new all-time high, whether it's next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Whatever it is, pay less attention to that. Pay more attention. The more important thing is, guys, I sometimes get really annoyed with this space when people get so hung up on if something's happening this week or next week. I am not Nostradamus. It actually makes me think to take a step back and really reevaluate what I'm communicating on a time level perspective, because I think too many people pay too much attention to that shit. I think what's most important, the biggest thing you can take away from today is, and we have to see how the day closes, Bitcoin is down currently 5%. Solana may actually be down right now, may actually be down 1%. Solana is down 0.5%. It was up 5%. So we'll have to see how the day closes out. But the point is, Solana has been expressing an extreme amount of strength in the face of adversity with the downfall that we've been seeing in price action today on Bitcoin. Okay? And it's had a tendency to front run the market. Look at this chart here. This is the Sol BTC chart. And this is why, I had posted something out today. Take from it what you will. I don't think I need to elaborate any further. One of the biggest mistakes to avoid, you're invested in something where the chart looks like shit and you simply hope it turns around. Even worse is having some type of cult allegiance to a community, which I see. You owe your financial successes to you and your family. Use logic and not emotion. Sometimes it is best to acknowledge a mistake and move on. If you don't know what I mean, then perhaps you'll learn in time. Guys, I don't care what your fundamental view of Solana is. I could care less, again, how many times it has gone down. This chart speaks for itself. There are so many altcoins where I see cult allegiances to out there on Twitter and YouTube, and it's kind of comical because their altcoin pairing looks like shit. So if you pull up a whatever charted BTC relativity chart, it literally is going down in value with no end in sight. Why in the fuck would you ever feel so convicted to a project like that has shown you nothing within the chart, and it's just completely depreciating from Bitcoin? If you want to see a historical chart, I'll show you something really quick. I'll show you one chart, and I don't want to alienate any communities, but the chart speaks for itself. You can tell me what. Let's look at Bitcoin Cash to BTC, okay? Now, that is not the chart I wanted. I have not charted this in a while. This is one of those old school coins I told you guys I own some of just because I love the nostalgia of it. It's a classic coin. Look at this. This is the Bitcoin Cash BTC relativity chart. You get these little pumps. But this thing's been in a downtrend for 6 years. For 6 motherfucking years, this thing's been in a downtrend. This is a monthly chart. You have many altcoins right now that are very early stages, and their altcoin pairing could look like this. I'm warning you right now, if you're holding anything that looks remotely similar to this, you could wake up, if you're still unfortunately holding that asset, 3 to 4 years from now, going on Twitter and seeing a cult-like allegiance to a project that's going to fucking reinvent the world, and yet the chart looks like this. And so maybe if you're lucky, the USD value has appreciated against the dollar, but against the Bitcoin pairing, you've just lost out. You completely lost out. You could have had so much Bitcoin, and your portfolio would look a lot better had you not invested in something like this. I'm just warning you guys, pay attention to the strong charts out there. So the Sol BTC chart looks phenomenal. If we go to the Ethereum BTC chart, you can see we're getting rejected here. I wouldn't expect this red body candle to print the way it is by the end of the week, but we have to pay attention to it for Ethereum. Right now, we're just locked within this zone here. Nothing has changed on the ETH BTC relativity chart. In fact, we're riding this downward trend line right here. Okay, so nothing has changed here. Guys, check out the total cryptocurrency market cap. We've completely perfectly touched, back tested the $2.4 trillion market cap. I have to flip this screen. And once we print above it, which I fully expect, we can flip this to green as support. I would like to see less of a red body here. Again, more than likely it's going to be an indecision candle. We'll have to wait to see. Guys, but you tell me if this is a parabola or not. I mean, you tell me whether or not this looks like a parabola. Okay? We could even be a little bit more, perhaps, aggressive with how we draw it. But this is sort of what I see, right? So it is possible, excuse me, it is possible maybe we do consolidate a little longer going into April, May, and then we see a continued ride up. But this total cryptocurrency market cap looks like it's in a parabola. Remember, guys, it's always, things make a lot more sense in hindsight, right? They always make a lot more sense in hindsight. So if we go back in time to the moment we were at in 2020 and 21, this looked like, again, when we broke out of this consolidation pattern here. Again, I was here for all of this. If you weren't here for this, you can't speak to it. You don't know what this felt like. You don't know what the price action looked like in real time. Because what we're doing is we're going back in history and we're like, oh, yeah, well, I mean, we rode up tremendously. Guys, when you're here, you don't have the price data to the right. If you weren't here, you don't know. What I can tell you is this. When we broke out of this resistance, okay, and you look at it in real time, look at that run right there. We've already reached new all-time highs, and you're thinking, okay, well, we're going to have some sort of a pullback. We didn't have a pullback, guys. We consolidated for 3 weeks, and then look what happened. Then we went up to here. We went up to 2 trillion. I mean, we went up from, we were at 1 trillion, then we doubled and went up to 2 trillion. Well, we're overheated now, right? No, we went all the way up to 2.5 nearly trillion. Okay, yeah, we went up to 2.5. So I'm just saying, when you enter a true parabola, and you can see the parabola here, yes, the momentum is going to run out, but I haven't shown you any chart. I was just looking at the topping indicators that I'm going to be sharing with you in a video. None of the topping indicators have fired. And I'll share with you in the video, I'm not looking for all 5 of them to fire before I begin to personally sell some of my Bitcoin, but none of them are firing. None of them, guys. Again, I see these posts on Twitter from people saying the market has topped. Like, the emotion and irrationality, people replying to my Caspa tweets or Caspa posts, implying that the chart looks like shit. Like, what are you even looking at? Like, how can you look at this chart and tell me this looks like shit? Or the problem with a lot of uneducated people in this space, and it gets me irritated, probably more irritated than I should get, and I shouldn't pay attention to uneducated individuals in this space. We had a huge move up in consolidation, a big move up and further consolidation. There's going to be, probabilities are, there's going to be another massive move up. It's just not happening on the day of the week that somebody wants. It didn't happen Wednesday at 3 p.m. Fucking get educated. Stop being emotional, guys, if that's you. The other thing I would be curious on is why in the world there are only 7 likes in the live stream relative to the number of viewers. I don't understand that. I think what I'm going to begin doing to encourage and facilitate likes. This is how YouTube judges me as an educator, unfortunately, guys. So as long as we continue to exist on a platform in a world where my recognition and self-worth is based on hitting a thumbs up button, I'm going to remind you, maybe we will, I'll consider what I can do if I'm not getting as much love on the live streams to entertain you guys. But it really does help me out as a content creator, so I do appreciate it. But guys, that's really all I wanted to evaluate with you going into the weekend. Pay attention to Solana. Pay attention to where Bitcoin closes on the weekly. If there is a high degree of volatility, count on me going live Sunday. I will be live Saturday for a brand new live stream. Pay attention to Ethereum. Pay attention to where the total cryptocurrency market cap prints. But I think the three most important charts for you guys, if I had to pick three charts, it's Ethereum, it's Solana, and it's Bitcoin. So those are the three key charts to pay attention to. Let's see if we have any comments here I can quickly address. Guys, I don't have time to go through everybody's comments here and say hi, but I see all of your names, and thank you for joining today's live stream. Let's fucking go. Is there anyone who's saying that? Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. Yes, Track, man. Solana's been a beast. You can't. You know, I posted something out today where I was half joking and half serious. I mean, I really believe that you could almost blindly just buy anything in that ecosystem at this point. Now, obviously, again, tongue-in-cheek, I mean, you have to evaluate the chart to make sure that, you know, and know what you're actually buying if you're planning on investing. If you're trading, you can simply just evaluate the chart. But you want to buy something with a strong chart. But you really could almost blindly buy something in the Solana ecosystem, because if I am correct, which I really strongly believe I'm correct, as Solana continues to outperform and continues to lead the rest of the market, you're telling me as this pump happens, okay, you're telling me that the entire ecosystem around the same time isn't going to begin pumping tremendously. You're telling me something like a bonk or a dog with hat doesn't have a good chance of breaking into the top 20. You're crazy. You haven't been here, guys, then. You haven't been here very long if you don't think that's a possibility. Rob, I love this question. I love this question. So this is a basic premise that I believe in within charting, and I believe is true. And I think most technical analysts would agree with me. The longer the consolidation, the higher the space. So your question is, do you see the altcoins having a higher run-up if Bitcoin tops out in July or at the end of the year? Or would it be the same? My view is that if this actually takes a little bit longer than where I'm leaning towards, it would actually be beneficial for your portfolio. I believe that Bitcoin has a higher possibility of having a higher blow-off top if it takes some time to cool off along the way, consolidate before having that massive pump up, versus pumping up too early. Same with altcoins. Because again, and this is something I've hit on many, many times on this live stream, and if you appreciate the realism, do hit the thumbs up. I hate to continue repeating it, but still not seeing the equivalency there on likes and viewers. As I've said before, the higher that Bitcoin goes and the higher it tops out, the more enthusiasm and the more capital as well it's going to bring into the market to pump those altcoins up, right? Now, conjointly with that idea, Bitcoin having a blow-off top in May, it has a higher likelihood of having a lower blow-off top level versus it taking a little bit longer to consolidate than what I'm quite frankly expecting. You know, a little bit of time to consolidate and then a movement up and consolidate and then another movement up. If we go up in late 24 or early 25, yes, I think Bitcoin's blow-off top will be higher and the altcoins have a higher likelihood of having that much more upside as well. And I'll be honest with you, I've said this before and I've posted this on Twitter and I've shared this on this live stream. I hope that I am incorrect with the following. I hope that I am incorrect that Bitcoin does not have a blow-off top in the first half of this year. It doesn't happen in June or July. I hope May, June, July. I hope that I'm incorrect. And the reason is for the purposes I just explained. I want my portfolio to do the best possible appreciation that it can. I think that we are on the horizon of a massive blow-off top in the stock market as well as the crypto market. And I think there is just such a huge opportunity to benefit from that. I've been saying that for a very long time. And I think the thing that's going to benefit us the most if we're invested in this market is to see that blow-off top occur later in the year or early 25 because there's more runway for higher prices, right? Again, that's not my predominant view, though. My predominant view is, you know, what people refer to as a left translated cycle, where we're going to get a blow off top sooner than people think. I hope that I'm wrong, but that's what I see. Oh, does the stream keep restarting? I hope not. Hope nobody's having some issues here. I see I have an excellent condition. No drinking for me today. My significant other asked me if I was. My significant other asked me if I was going to be day drinking today, going to the beach and day drinking with margaritas. To which I said, no. Part of the reason I was actually lazy, part of the reason I did not go to the beach today is I wanted to avoid the temptation of drinking. I didn't want to drink today. So I'm having a diet cherry 7-Up. Cheers. $228,600. Could you imagine if you had 228,613 Bitcoin? I would just go for 1,000 Bitcoin. I don't know what everyone's story here is, but I don't want to steal the thunder of tomorrow's live stream. I might speak to this, but I'll be curious to hear Alex's story because I don't know his story. But my story is one thing I will tell you before I actually started getting invested in this market. So I started doing some real research in the summer of 2017, and then I didn't put my first dollars in until 2018. Okay. But I remember seeing on, I think it was Amazon, there was a documentary in like 2015, somewhere around 2015, about Bitcoin. And I was like, what is that anyway? And I was like, I don't know, I'll watch it at some point. And I never watched it. I never paid any attention to it. Had I actually made time to watch that documentary, I wonder what would have happened. Would I have gotten into the market much earlier? May I have purchased some Bitcoin for even a couple $100, $1,000? Oh man, CBG's world might look a little bit different, but all we can do is focus on the present time and plan for the. I think my significant other is really tired of hearing me say, heads down, need to focus, number one priority, don't want to fuck this up. I think she's tired of hearing that, but it really is the truth, you guys. All kidding aside, I'm just going to repeat this over and over and over again. You have absolutely zero gains in this market until you hit the sell button. I will repeat that over and over and over again. When you open up your hardware wallet or an exchange, I have mine all over the place. I have wallets, some on the exchanges. And that's another key thing. Make sure you're diversified there. But when you open up and you review your balances or you keep track of it like I do, what your total portfolio is worth, looks nice, right? You look at that and you're like, wow. Sometimes I look at that and I'm like, I can't even believe that's my net worth in crypto, but here I am today. But you look at that and you say, wow, that's pretty fucking good. The reality is, you're not going to benefit from that. You're not actually going to realize that unless you sell. So that's why it's so important that you guys remain locked in. And whether we really do have that euphoria come in so much earlier than people expect, or it's late this year, or it's early next year, whatever the case is, know what your plan is. And that's one of the things I really want to help you guys with. I'm going to share with you exactly what I will be looking at to tell me to begin to just shave some Bitcoin away, and time to evaluate the alts, and whatever you're projecting for your altcoins, they should be topping relatively soon, okay? Happens in the blink of an eye, I can tell you from experience. Pat, welcome in. Kayleen, let's fucking go. Is there a level of price we should look for on Bitcoin to look for further downside? Yeah, I just kind of laid out, good question, Track. I just laid out the levels here. Ideally, we set in a low today. If it looks like, I just round my figures here, 65,600. I definitely would like to maintain that level through the weekend. Now, what you could see is some volatility come in, and we could wick to some of these levels. I like that the 50 is kind of coming up to some of this price confluence here. But we have levels I'm showing off to the right of 63,800 and 61,800. So we'll have to keep that in mind. But ultimately, what's most important let's look at how this weekly closes. And once our weekly closes out, we have one more week, and then we're going to have the monthly close. But again, we've assessed the monthly price action, the weekly 2-week. Guys, especially on the monthly, when you zoom out on that higher time frame and you're looking at the monthly, like this is just started. There's nothing in those views that says there's some sort of concern that we're going to see some sort of a huge correction to the downside. I think a lot of people that are calling for that are all of the bears that have been in disbelief this whole time. Some of your 5,000, 10,000 Bitcoiners, some of your bear market rallies. Remember, guys, we're in a bear market rally. Bear market rally, the end, your Data Dashes, your Gareth Soloways. I mean, these guys have just been dead wrong. They've been dead fucking wrong. And I think the thing that irks me about that most, because we all get wrong calls, is they don't really own it. It's like you've had so many bad calls and bad takes on the market for the past 2 years, and you might have a huge following and subscriber base, but you've just never come down and owned it, right? How many times have I owned that I was wrong about this? I've come out repeatedly and said I was wrong about this. I was wrong about this. I've learned from it, guys. I'm learned from it. I have good calls and bad calls, right? So again, I was incorrect back here, but I certainly was correct back here, and I've certainly been correct so far since late 2022, mid to late 2022, okay? So let's just focus on those higher time frames. That's what I would say, a long-winded way of saying it. In my opinion, the price action will be similar to, well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see, Alex. We'll have to see. Guys, make sure to tune in tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be doing the Beyond Charts, kick off the Beyond Charts with Alex from Tactical Invest. Really nice guy. And also, if price action is what I expect it to be this weekend, high likelihood I'll be live streaming on Sunday for the weekly close. Look out for my topping signals video. Digibyte community, I have not forgotten about you. I will get the Digibyte video out. And until next time, everybody, have a great weekend. Get out there and fucking enjoy the weather. Don't be in front of a computer like me all day, all right? Let's all spread awareness and carry the education forward. Take care, guys.